On this episode of The Wild Table, we head out into the Kaipara Harbour with Wes from Glowbite for day one of the NZ Lure Master competition. On the boat, Wes provides us with some excellent inside knowledge on his lures and how to fish them, and later we show you how to cook a simple but delicious meal on the beach from the fish that we caught. Okay, so here we are this morning with Wes, who owns and makes the Glowbite lures. Wes, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Yeah, it's awesome. Good. It's good to be getting together today. Eh? Going out and gonna smash it out there on the Kaipara today. So heading out that a ways to the mouth of the Kaipara Harbour to a place called Graveyard. So there's a lot of current, obviously.
Yep.
Depth 15 to 20 metres. Lots and lots of greenland mussels on the bottom. So
awesome. So good snapper.
Feed for snapper. Yeah.
Work
so
it.
it's a pretty famous spot for targeting snapper.
I can't wait. And look around. What a great start, eh? Also, just so I introduce some other people we're with, Captain Mike is currently launching the boat we're going to get to use, which he's graciously offered for us to go out on this trip with, and the young fella you see there. So, without further ado, let's get on this boat and let's go fishing. There's a good little bit of swell out here. Woo!
It's always fun to be through here.
It's actually really fun. And just a stunning environment. Kaipara Harbour really is a beautiful spot.
Yeah, so as Dylan was just saying, lures only for the competition.
Yep.
And it's a good challenge. I mean, to be honest, I only ever fish lures anyway.
Yeah, right on.
I can't remember the last time I went bait fishing.
Yep.
And one of the beauties of it is we're only in 20 metres of water here.
Yeah, right on.
You can catch a good fish and you can release it quite happily, knowing you're going to get it up to the boat without ambulising or anything.
Yep.
You're going to be able to get it back into the water.
Yeah.
And lure fishing means that they don't swallow the hook way down inside, so you can get that hook out without any damage and let them go. So.
And so this is the bit that I'm really curious about. Which lure are we going to use?
Well, what I'm thinking at the moment is I've seen people tying different lures on, and that's going to be good. So we've got a whole lot of different colours going to go over the side.
Right.
And within 10 minutes we'll know which one's working. We can kind of target that line. It's different days, different lures.
That's right. Yep. So that's a really good strategy. So basically you just chuck as much stuff out there as you can, and you see what works on the day.
That's right.
And then everyone else is going to switch to that.
Everybody's quietly kind of going like this, looking at what everybody else has got in the water.
Yeah.
And,
awesome.
And then we'll work it out from there.
Choice. I can't wait to just want to get a lure down there and start fishing.
Into it.
Let's do it. Alrighty, so while everyone is busy tying on lures, here's what I'm going to start with. This is one of the orange grumpy fish. And I actually have several of these in my kit already. I love this lure. Hey, Wes, what weight is this lure?
That one's 140 grams, so it's our heaviest.
Yeah, right on.
There's a lot of current in this spot.
Yep. So a heavy current on this harbour, and we're just right at the entrance of the harbour as well. So we'll just get a nice heavy lure down there. And what I really like about these lures as well is they have you can see it, there's a little slot at the bottom. You can actually just stick some fish attracted to it, like some secret sauce, something along those lines. So not only have you got a lure, but you've also got a lure that smells nice. Let's see what's down there. Young Dylan is the first man onto a fish.
Dylan's got one on, I've got one on as well.
The key, just a slow wind up to the water column. Lure hasn't been in the water for 2 minutes, eh? Nah, about 2-3 minutes.
What colour are you using?
The orange and pink. And 140 grams. There we go. Nice little snapper. Nice. Good average waist size fish, that one.
Hey, Wes, just while you're winding in your monster fish there, is there any sort of secrets to fishing these lures? Am I just keeping it still, or?
Drop it to the bottom, as Mike said, pull it up about a metre so that you don't hook up on the bottom.
Yeah.
And then, depends on the day.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes you just want it wafting along.
Yeah.
Other days, you want it to just keep moving up slowly through the water column, so you might lift and do a half a wind, and then lift and a quarter, and just kind of. One of the key things to remember with these lures is when you do get bites, don't strike.
Right.
I do a lot of filming of my lures underwater as I'm developing them, and I've got really good footage of snapper coming up and running their mouth along the tail of the lure.
Yeah.
Didn't have any hooks on it, but I just wanted to see how they interact with it. And that's what they're doing, they're trying to feel what it is. And if you strike, you pull that lure away from them before they... The idea is that you have small hooks, and we put special, what we call crystal flash, special hook flies to increase the drag on hooks and keep them up in the tail of the skirt.
Yeah.
So you want the hooks to be there and the fish to not even notice they're there until he's hung himself on them.
Yeah. So you basically don't do anything until the fish is on.
Well, once I'm starting to feel the bites, then I might just wind really as slow as I can make myself go.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's all about controlling yourself and not pulling that lure away from the fish.
Yeah.
That's the key thing.
Good, that's good advice. And it looks like you got a decent fish on the end of your line too.
Good fish.
Here we go. That's me on as well.
Woohoo!
All right.
Yeah, man.
Woohoo! Grumpy lure in action. Where's I think those lures of yours might work. Well, it's not a monster, this one.
Come on, make it look like hard work.
Wait, give me your rod. I think I might have got off again actually. Oh no. Oh my god, okay, look. Okay, listen.
You baby snatcher.
Okay, listen.
Come on, you gotta show it off.
It's not about the size of the fish, alright? All it's about is that you're catching something. Dylan, shut up, turn around.
Fish gets top marks for ambition.
Goodie, mate. That's a goodie.
It's nearly as big as yours.
That's legal in a parallel universe.
So obviously you said we're trialing different colors and we're seeing what's working. It sort of seems like everything is working, which is quite great. But do you have a formula for what, like sort of what colors you choose according to what days, or?
Yeah, a lot of people would say in the duller light conditions you should go for the duller colours.
Okay, yep.
And then and it's a bit like trout fishing, it's pretty similar I think. And then as I was saying to you before, a lot of our lures are very highly UV reflective. All these orange and pink ones that we're using are highly UV reflective. The one that I've put down, which is a yellow and brown combination, doesn't reflect any UV at all.
Right.
So it's interesting that it's quite a different kind of approach, and some days that's the colour for the fish.
Mike in the background just hooked up again.
The online.
Mike, what color are you using?
I've got a chartreuse, a green one.
There you go. I got an orange. So it seems like at the moment everything is happening, eh?
Well, in the light, so there's a light in these lures as well, it's water activated, and so as soon as it hits the water it's going to turn on, and it's flashing red, white, green. And so that's kind of covering off three colours to start with.
Yeah, right.
Because I do get a lot of people say, oh, well, what's the best lure colour then? And to be honest, what ends up in my tackle box is something that had a little chip in it or something like that, so I couldn't put it out to market, couldn't sell it. So I end up with the colours that are kind of the cast-offs, if you like.
There you go.
End up fishing all the colours and catch fish on all of them.
Yeah.
Do you want to get the net? Falling off with the boat. Oh, it's a stonker!
Wow.
Bloody good fish.
That's a good fish.
Wow, look at the size of that thing.
That's a nice fish.
Hey, here we go. Here's a decent fish on the line. Everyone's catching something.
Hey.
This thing is pulling good.
68 centimetres.
Where the hell's this isn't working?
Whoa. Yes. This is good fish.
Hey.
Look at that.
Wow.
Woohoo! Look at that. That is a fish on the grumpy lure. Whoopsie daisy. Where's? What do you reckon?
Oh, mate, just average, you know, run of the mill.
Jeepers. That is a good snapper. Very happy with that.
Good work, right? See, I'm just starting to get the odd tap on my rod, the odd bite, and my response is just to turn my reel as slowly as I can make myself do it. So I'm just making that, giving that impression, oh, the fish is thinking, oh, it's going to get away, but it's actually just coming up really slowly, and that's often when you hook up.
Is Mike on again?
Mike is on again.
He's a greedy bugger.
Right, so got 6 fish in the boat already, but we're just moving around because we really want to get back onto the action with the fish. We're biting heaps. It's just brilliant when you drop the lure down and it just gets smashed right away. So yeah, we've got a pretty good swell out here today. Oh, yeah, actually not too bad, but definitely going up and down a bit. I'm actually quite enjoying it. Hey, here we go.
Yeah.
That is a good fish, that is.
There's nothing and then boom, you're into
Oh.
it.
Wait.
snapper is definitely not as big as the last one. I think this might be a good eating size one, which is good, seeing as our show is called the Wild Table. Woo! Oh.
Well done.
Yeah, more
Killing
fish
it today, man.
Hey, on the grumpy lure. Wicked, here we go, another beautiful West Coast eating fish. Got the grumpy lure, still the orange, just doing the damage. And yeah, fishing on here is just excellent today. Stoked. Okay, so taking a picture, and did they supply this thing, or did we? This is a separate.
Oh, it's part of the competition to get a measurement.
Okay, great. Yeah, so they supply you with this measurement rollout map. Excuse me, I'm just gonna hold on to something. A little bumpy out here today. And then so obviously as soon as you catch a good fish, chuck it straight on there. You got to take a picture, and then that gets uploaded to the Daiwa app, which then automatically goes into the competition. And that's, or maybe you win a big boat.
A lot of the action's been happening on lures that have got UV reflectance this morning. I've been fishing one that doesn't, so now I've succumbed. This guy's going to go on, we'll see how we get on with it.
What's happening, Dylan?
I think I'm onto a kingfish. look at the line. My braid is tight too, and it is just going.
Don't let the thing go straight. Put a bit of angle on your rod so you
Yeah.
get suspension.
He is not a happy camper. Oh, he wants to keep going. Don't worry about a net, because it's going to be 5 hours before I get this thing in.
I'll come back to you then, shall I?
I think so. I think that would be the smart thing to do right now.
So whereas these lures have been working real nice, we've already hooked up to a bunch of snapper and stuff. How'd you come up with this stuff?
Mate, I was living in the far north at the time. I was living at a place called Kaipara, which is at the base of 90 Mile Beach.
Yep.
And teaching.
Yep.
And young kids and need to put food on the table, so I was going fishing once or twice a week,
Really?
just straight out off the beach where I was living.
Yeah.
And it was actually one of my kids came home with a little toy that it was a little squishy ball that had water in it,
Yeah.
and in the water was a little flashing light.
Yeah.
And you know what fishermen are like, eh? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
wonder
Always.
if I could catch a fish on that.
Yeah.
You know? So I borrowed one, you know, and took it out and started catching fish on it. So it proved that, you know, the light was working.
Yeah.
But then the next thing was, okay, so it works, but does it work better than, you know, the opposition? Because I started thinking, you know, there's potential here to go into business.
Yeah.
And so the real kicker for me was starting to do a series of films where I would drop a GoPro down and 2 lures in front of it, identical lures, but one with a light going and one without.
Yeah.
Cut the hooks off them and just counted the strikes.
Yeah.
And I got a piece of footage, actually the best 60 seconds of it's up on YouTube, and I think it's called Do Fish Prefer Lights or something.
Yeah.
So the best 60 seconds where you can see, you know, 8 strikes on the one with the light and only 2 on the one without in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
The real kicker is 2 hours, eh?
Yeah.
So film for 2 hours, count the strikes, no light gets 36 strikes,
Yeah.
one with the light got 104.
Wow.
And that's when I said to my wife, I think we could actually start a business. You know, I think we've got a discernible difference going on here. So,
Yeah.
so we could start.
That's really interesting, because I've heard guys say, it's like, oh, I don't really know if that light makes a difference or does anything, but it clearly does.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when you're out fishing, getting liveys for yourself, so
Yeah.
you've got burley out, there's a whole lot of bait fish down there, and you hook one on your sabiki rig, and you know you've hooked that one, because suddenly you've got one fish going like this and reflecting all the light.
Yeah,
There might
yeah.
be 100 down there,
Yeah.
but you know you've got that one, and that's what you're simulating with the flashing light, is that reflection of light off a stressed bait fish.
Of a stress bait fish, yeah.
That's enough to bring the others to fish in for a look, see what's going on, see if there's a free feed on offer.
Gotcha.
Of course there is,
Yeah.
just got a few hooks at there.
That's it. Mate, I love it. Yeah, really enjoying this style of fishing too. Cool.
Oh, nice. Whew. It's not big, but he's fighting a lot. He's fighting like one.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Mate,
Nice snapper.
what do you reckon?
Kingy.
Grumpy fish. Yeah, it's kingy. Yeah, what am I thinking?
Solid fish, mate.
Used to catching snapper. Yeah,
Beauty.
it's nice. On the OP.
Had you working for your money there, mate, didn't it?
Oh yeah, he didn't want to come up. He was happy to stay down deep, that's for sure.
Yep.
It'll be nice.
Change position. Came back to where we started from, and boom, we're back on the fish.
Yeah, that big white
Oh
sand
yeah.
saw.
That's a beauty eater.
They just smacked it straight away, didn't they?
Yep, straight away. To the bottom and boom. Using a sort of an orange black head and a pink tail.
Mixing it up today.
Mixing it up. There we go. Beauty fish. Right. Action back on. Back in the right place, eh, Mike?
Yep. There's nice fish down there at the moment.
There we go. Beauty. Good table fish, this one. That's kind of the size that we're looking for to keep. Okie dokie. So we're sort of just approaching slack the tide, and slack the tide tends to be really poor fishing, and just like that pretty much all the bites died right down. You know, a couple of hours ago we had all the lures in the water and it was just smash, smash, smash. We can still see the fish on the sounder, but it's going slack tide. And so yeah, we decided pretty much to pull anchor. We're gonna move up, gonna nip around the corner and whip up some lunch. Man, paradise. Paradise. Super sheltered, calm. Tell you what, we brought the Osprey with us, of course, because super handy little fire pit collapses right down to the little sack. And we're gonna get that thing rigged up right now. We haven't actually used the Osprey for a little while, but perfect scenario. We're gonna fill it up a couple of those snapper that we caught, and just get a little bit of lunch going for everyone. So we're gonna just use these dry ass potato branches here, and then a few, sort of a good handful of pine needles, and I'll see if we can get a fire cracking with that. Alright, here we go. A couple of beauty snappers straight out of the Kaipara Harbour. We just unfolded the Osprey pit braai. Just going to burn down some manuka and some pohurikawa, and then we're going to cook these fish straight on that fire. We're going to do is we're going to take the freshly filleted snapper, give it a little bit of a coating of Cajun seasoning and Dijon mustard, heat some oil in, some butter rather in the pan, add some garlic to it, and then we're just going to nicely fry these snapper fillets. Easy as, nothing fancy, but it'll be tasty. I've added just a little bit of Dijon mustard to the pan because I really quite like Cajun and Dijon, goes good together. And of course I'm adding copious amount of butter back to it, so that's where a lot of the flavour really comes from. It's the fat that you cook it in. Probably one of my favourite things about fish is just the sheer simplicity. In fact, I think if you overcomplicate fish, you tend to ruin it. You know, it only usually needs a handful of ingredients: butter, lemon, garlic, thyme, Cajun seasoning, curry powder. So easy, so delicious. And in my mind, the one thing that you just absolutely cannot beat is cooking straight over fire. This Osprey, just awesome.
Pretty sweet. Nothing wrong with that.
Straight out of the ocean, mate. Cannot beat it.
No fresher than this.
Very hot.
That is really good. That flavouring is better than any breadcrumb you can do, that's for sure. It's way stronger than like breadcrumb. It's much better. And it's so tender, and the coating is just like full of flavour.
It's just super easy, eh? Cajun seasoning is just a winner with fish.
Shit. This is a serious piece of kit.
Remember when he asked you for an axe last night, and then I saw that and going,
What are you
"Why
talking
are you
about?
asking for an axe for?"
Yeah.
It's the all-purpose camping tool. You chop your firewood, you cook your food, and you serve your food with it.
And you defend your food with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell you what, yeah.
There we go. I think the simplicity of the Cajun plus the fresh snapper is doing the work. Everyone seems to be enjoying that quite nicely.
Finger looking good.
There you go.
Yeah.
What more can you ask for? Beautiful day on the water, bunch of really good people, fresh fish. amazing remote beach. Like, seriously, doesn't get better than this. Not in my heart. Okay, cool. So we're gonna leave this stunning little beach behind and we're gonna head out. Apparently there's a few nice and deep holes here in the harbour. Right, so we sort of tried flicking the soft bait around, but it's very windy and the current is very strong, so I couldn't really get it down. But we saw lots of good sign on the sounder, so we basically pulled the other rod back out that had the grumpy lure on it, got the grumpy lure down, and within 30 seconds, boom, fish on. Yeah, here we go. On again.
Are you on?
Yeah.
Everyone, get the grumpy fish on.
Here we go, back on the fish.
Look at the sign.
Oh,
Wonder you've got something going
This
on.
isn't fair.
Oh yeah.
I protest.
We haven't got any further yet.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sweet. That's cheaper.
Yep, that's a nice panic.
27 centimetres on this side.
Boom, here we go.
Right.
Oh, I'll never get sick of this, ever. I love catching fish. Hey, come here. Come here.
Grumpy fish wins again.
Grumpy fish wins again. Lots of snapper around, but they're very small and they're not really committing to any of the lures. Plus, if you're going to catch little fish, you can't eat them anyway. So, we're going to pull the pin, we're going to head out of here and go home. We've got a kingfish and we've got several snapper in the bin, so we're going to go have a nice dinner. And most importantly, tomorrow is going to be day 2 of fishing with Glowbite. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you stay tuned for next week's episode 2. We're back with the Glowbite team for day 2 of the Lure Master competition, where we fish Little Barrier Island, catch all sorts of remarkable fish, and at the end of the day, kick it with some fresh as it gets seafood that'll be sure to make you hungry. Also, if you enjoy our content, don't forget to click and subscribe and turn on the notifications.